Hi there, I'm Raylene. My parents told me we couldn't afford to fix my laptop, said money was tight. A week later, they handed my stepsister the keys to a brand new car, wrapped in a bow. At first, I thought the worst part was being left out. But no, it was realizing they never actually saw me at all. They erased me slowly, smiling while they did it. And what came after? The lies, the letters, the silence that cut louder than any fight. How do you survive when the people who raised you are the ones breaking you? Let me show you. My laptop gave out the week before college applications were due. Not a dramatic death, just a slow freeze, a flicker, then nothing but a black screen. I brought it to the kitchen where Dad was reading the local news on his phone, half glasses low on his nose. Can we get it fixed? I asked, trying to sound casual. He didn't look up. Money's tight right now, Ray. That was all. Not a maybe, not a let me see. Just the same old line I'd been hearing since I was 12. Velda, my stepmother, was slicing celery at the counter. She snorted. If you didn't pound away on that thing like you're hacking the Pentagon, maybe it'd still work. I didn't respond. There was no winning that kind of argument. I just nodded, picked up the dead machine, and left the room. A week later, I came home from school and found a crowd on the driveway. Balloons. Cake on the trunk of a shiny new red Toyota Corolla. Taylor, my stepsister, was standing beside it, grinning like she'd just won the lottery. Dad held up his phone, snapping pictures. Velda beamed beside him like it was her own birthday. She's been such a help around the house, Velda said to one of the neighbors. We thought she deserved something special. I stood on the front steps and watched as they posed with the car. No one noticed me. Not once did anyone ask me to join the photo, or even say hello. That night, after the house went quiet, I climbed under the covers in my room and pulled my broken laptop out from under the bed. I pressed the power button. Once, twice, a dozen times. Nothing. Downstairs, Taylor's keys jingled as she came in late. I heard her laugh, light, effortless, like nothing had ever gone wrong in her life. I sat in the dark, fingers frozen over the keyboard, and whispered, "You really bought her a damn car." I wasn't angry the way people think. I wasn't even jealous. What I felt was something colder. I wasn't poor. I was irrelevant. I stopped asking for things after that night. Something in me folded shut, like a page turned down too hard. 2 weeks later, I noticed a printed flyer taped to the fridge. Taylor's name was bold across the top. Join us to celebrate her acceptance. Beneath it, an RSVP number and directions to a restaurant downtown. My name wasn't mentioned. There was no verbal invite, no casual, "Hey, are you coming?" That Friday night, I came home to laughter, the kind that carries through walls and stings on contact. Plates clinked. Someone played pop music on a phone speaker. From the front door, I saw them through the archway. Velda in a silk blouse, Dad in his only blazer, Taylor glowing in a new dress. Even the pastor's wife from church was there, sipping wine at the table like she belonged more than I did. I reached for a granola bar from the pantry, peeled it quietly, and climbed the stairs without a word. The next morning, I needed a folder from the guest room closet. Velda was out running errands. Taylor wasn't home. I opened the door and spotted it right away, an unopened apple box tucked behind a stack of hoodies. I pulled it slightly forward, enough to see the sticker, MacBook Air 13. Space gray. The door creaked. Taylor stepped in. She didn't flinch. "Oh, it's for my college apps. Mom said I earned it." She said it like it was a toothbrush, like it meant nothing. I didn't reply, just nodded and left the room. That night, I sat on the stairs outside my room. I didn't want to go in. The house hummed around me. TV murmuring downstairs, Velda yelling something about dish soap, Taylor laughing again, always laughing. I stared at my phone, no texts, no missed calls, just the faint glow of the lock screen. A thought came, uninvited but honest. Would they even notice if I left? I didn't pack a bag. I didn't slam any doors. I just stopped trying. If they wanted silence, I'd give them exactly what they taught me. Quiet compliance. A few days passed. I still hadn't touched the old laptop again, but my English teacher had assigned a midterm project that needed to be submitted online. I waited until the house was empty and brought the machine into the kitchen, hoping the outlet by the microwave might spark some life into it. The screen flickered, buzzed faintly, then cut to black. I tried again. Same result. I sat on the floor, legs curled under me, staring at a reflection of myself in the dead glass. My fingers hovered, then dropped. No tears came. I wasn't surprised, just defeated in a way that didn't even feel new. The last time something like this happened, I was 16, sitting in the back row of English class with a busted school Chromebook that wouldn't charge. I was too embarrassed to tell anyone, but Mrs. Haviland noticed. She always did. After class, she handed me a padded sleeve with an old laptop inside. "It's not fancy," she said, smiling gently, "but it works. Just return it when you're done." No questions, no lecture, no pity, just a simple offer, like kindness didn't need a reason. That laptop got me through a whole semester. I never forgot that. I was pulled out of the memory by Velda's voice behind me. "You're still using that charity case? Jesus, you and your mom, always acting like the world owes you something." I didn't flinch, didn't even turn around. She kept walking. That moment didn't hurt the way her words usually did. It was something else, a signal, like the last flicker before a light dies, not because it's broken, but because it's about to be replaced. I looked back at the blank screen. For the first time, I didn't see failure. I saw fuel. By February, the air in the house felt thinner. Not colder, just emptier. Like the silence had stopped pretending to be polite. I came home from school one afternoon to find a pale pink envelope on my desk. Velda's handwriting, unmistakable. Tight, dramatic cursive like she thought she was signing fan mail. I opened it with a finger pressed to the corner, careful not to tear. The note inside was short, but it carried the weight of someone trying to rewrite history. "We always did our best with what we had. You're becoming just like your mother. Bitterness will eat you if you let it." No signature, just a smear of perfume on the paper that made my stomach turn. I folded it slowly, neatly, and slid it back into the envelope like you'd return something that doesn't belong to you. Later that night, my phone buzzed. Dad. I stared at the name for a long time before answering. His voice came through flat, like he'd practiced what to say but forgot how to feel it. "Hey kiddo, I know things haven't been easy lately. Velda, she lost her job. Rent's overdue. Things are tough right now." I said nothing, let him trail off. He tried again. "I just thought maybe you'd understand what it's like. You know, hard times." I finally spoke. "Yeah, I do. Like when I needed a laptop to finish school, and you said no, then turned around and bought Taylor a car." He went quiet. I could hear the faint static of his breath. "I'm not angry," I said. "I'm clear." I hung up before he could respond. Then I turned off my ringer, folded the blanket over my legs, and sat back on my bed, feeling more grounded than I had in months. I didn't expect anything else from them. Not a call, not another apology. I had closed the door, quietly, firmly. But then the letters came. The first one arrived on a Tuesday, no return address. Just my name in all caps on a plain white envelope. I recognized the handwriting right away, blocky, uneven. Dad. Inside was a single sheet, no guilt, no excuses, just sentences that landed like slow raindrops. I see now what I chose not to see. Peace should never come at a child's expense. I'm not asking for anything. Just letting you know, I get it now. No plea to visit, no begging for help, just a man finally admitting he failed where it mattered most. I read it once, then again, then folded it carefully and slid it into the top drawer of my desk, next to my voter registration card and the acceptance letter from Sacramento State, the parts of my life I earned on my own. 2 days later, a second envelope came. Purple ink this time. Curvier handwriting. "Taylor," she wrote. "I always thought you hated me. I didn't realize. You were just surviving." Mom made it seem like everything was fine, but it wasn't. She was hard on me too, after you left. "I don't expect anything. I just wish I had seen you clearer back then. I'm sorry." I sat with that letter for a while. I didn't cry. I didn't forgive. But something inside me loosened, like a knot untying after years of being yanked tighter. I didn't write back. Not out of spite, but because I didn't need to. I tucked her note into the same drawer, closed it gently, These letters didn't fix anything, but they named things. And sometimes, that's the beginning of healing. Just having your pain finally spoken out loud. They are part of my story, but not my future. It started with a notebook and a question. What if no kid had to feel invisible just because they couldn't afford a machine? I didn't tell anyone. I just opened my laptop, yes, still the same one from high school, and began typing. I launched the Digital Access Fund with a short post. I once missed a college application deadline because I had no working laptop. No one helped, so now I help. No names, no revenge, just truth that burned hot enough to move. Within 2 weeks, local donations came in. Then someone shared it on Twitter. A teacher messaged. A stranger sent $50. A small business offered 10 refurbished Chromebooks. It snowballed. The first shipment went to a youth shelter in Johntown. 30 laptops, packed with quiet precision. No press release, no ribbon cutting. Just a small card slipped inside each box. For the kid who thinks no one sees them, I do. I didn't attend the drop-off. Didn't need to. But one particular delivery mattered more than the others. The final box in the stack went to the community center at the edge of Wendell's neighborhood. The woman who ran the center, I'd spoken to her months before when I started scouting shelters. She remembered me. I never told her my story. But she knew. Later, she told a group gathered during distribution, "These came from someone who used to stay up all night on a broken laptop." Wendell was there. She said he didn't ask questions, just stared at the box. Maybe he recognized my handwriting on the tag. Or maybe he didn't. I didn't care either way. I wasn't chasing approval anymore. I wasn't hoping someone would say sorry again. I was busy building something better. 2 weeks passed in silence before my cousin Aaron sent me a screenshot. No message, no emoji, not even a "look at this," just the image. But she didn't need to say anything. I knew what silence meant in our family. It was a language of its own. The post was from Velda. Of course it was Velda. She'd gone and tagged nearly every relative we shared, people I hadn't heard from in years, and a few I hoped never to again. Her caption was short, venom packed into every word. "She's trying to humiliate us. She's always wanted to be the victim. Now she's turned it into a career." Below were the usual suspects, aunts chiming in, saying things like, "So sad, but not surprised," or "There's always more to the story." Neighbors weighing in like they'd been keeping tabs. Old family friends talking about the girl who always had a chip on her shoulder. No one tagged me directly. They didn't have to. I didn't comment. I didn't defend myself. I didn't send a follow-up message to Aaron, and I sure as hell didn't text Velda. Instead, I did what I've learned to do when things get loud. I stayed quiet. I didn't even delete the messages that poured into my inbox afterward. I just saved them. A folder marked "Proof," just in case. That night, I logged onto the fundraiser page. I stared at the screen for a long time, not sure what I wanted to say. I ended up writing one sentence. "We've passed 200 laptops. Next stop, Title I schools across the valley." That was it. No backstory, no mention of Velda. Just the work. And it worked. An education nonprofit picked it up and reshared it. Then a city council member posted it to her page with a caption about grassroots impact. I watched the shares climb. I watched the comments come in, this time different ones. Teachers, parents, volunteers, strangers mostly, but kind ones. People who saw the value in what was happening, not the drama that had come before it. I didn't post selfies, didn't attach my name in bold, just the work, moving forward. But the thing about truth is, it leaks. Even if you never open the door, it finds its way through the cracks. About a week later, I got a text from an old friend who now works at the Johntown shelter. They were hosting a youth event, she said. "Would love to see me there." I said I couldn't make it. Too much to do. Maybe next time. Still, I clicked on the live stream that evening, just to see how it was going. Near the end, one of the staff members stood up to say a few words. He was young, maybe mid-30s, wore his exhaustion like a badge, and then he said this. "A young woman who used to stay here. She made sure none of our kids would miss a deadline again. Because of her, they've got laptops, Wi-Fi, tech support. Because of her, no one here falls through the cracks." There was a beat of silence after that. And then the camera panned just slightly, capturing the crowd from the side. That's when I saw him. Wendell, My father. Seated in the back, alone, hands folded, shoulders squared like he was bracing for impact. Someone beside him leaned in and asked softly, "That was your daughter?" He nodded, didn't speak, and honestly, he didn't need to. Some battles don't play out in courtrooms or family group chats. Some wars aren't won by shouting louder. Some victories happen in silence, in the choices we make, in the work we do, in staying upright when every voice says sit down. After the stream ended, I shut my laptop, sat there for a moment, letting the stillness settle. No call to Wendell, no message to Velda, no attempt to smooth things over or find peace for the sake of appearances. I wasn't interested in reclaiming a place at a table that had always made me feel small. I was building something better. My own table. One where the seats weren't earned by bloodline or obligation, but by honesty, by work, and by heart. Let them talk, let them tag, let them stew in whatever story they needed to feel better about themselves. I had other things to do, and I was just getting started. 1 week after the story made the rounds, I stood at a folding table under fluorescent lights, facing a room full of strangers with notepads and microphones. The panel was called Equity in Education, but this wasn't about policy. It was personal. My palms were dry. My voice didn't shake. "This isn't revenge," I said. "It's redirection. I was that kid who went invisible in her own house, so now I see others." The room went quiet. That clip ended up online by evening. Just a minute-long segment. But it spread fast. No dramatics, no victimhood, just clarity. The next day, I got a message from someone in Bakersfield. Someone still working in the same district Velda used to get funding from. She'd filed incorrect forms about Taylor's schooling years ago. It finally caught up. I didn't report her. I never made a call. But truth travels. Quentin called later that night. "Did you have anything to do with this?" I told him plainly, "No, but I'm not sorry." I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. Some wins feel less like fireworks and more like a door finally closing softly behind you. A few days later, Velda texted from an unknown number. "You win. Are you happy now?" I stared at it, then removed the SIM card from my phone and slid in a new one I'd picked up earlier that morning. I didn't reply, just whispered to myself, "No, I'm safe. That's not the same thing." That night, I opened a window, let the cold in. Sometimes peace isn't applause, it's absence, of noise, of permission-seeking, of pretending. I didn't need to prove anything anymore. I had already said the last word. The house was quiet in a way I hadn't known before. Not the kind of quiet that follows shouting, but the kind that comes after choosing not to answer the door anymore. One morning, a pale blue envelope slipped through the mail slot. I recognized the handwriting instantly. Blocky, rigid, like someone trying too hard to write neatly. Wendell. I didn't open it right away. I let it sit beside my tea until it cooled. When I did open it, the note inside was short. "You don't owe me a response, but I owed you this. I'm sorry. Not for what happened, for not stopping it." I didn't feel warmth or anger. I didn't feel anything I could name, but I didn't throw it away. Instead, I placed it with the others, in the drawer that held letters, memories, and the weight of things I no longer carried. A few days later, Quentin and I hung solar lights across the porch. We baked banana bread for the woman next door, who always brought our packages inside. We adopted a rescue mutt from a shelter downtown, tiny thing, with more bark than bite. I named her Bite. Fitting, I thought. One Saturday, I finally clicked buy now on the laptop I had wanted when I was 17. I set it up in the small home office I'd carved out near the window. Sunlight streamed across the desk. Not because someone finally gave me something, but because I finally gave it to myself. That evening, I passed the drawer again. I opened it. The letters were still there, creased, silent. I didn't reread them. I didn't need to. I closed the drawer, pressed my palm to the top, and whispered, "That chapter's finished, and I'm still here." Some people need apologies to move on. I needed silence, and space, and time, and now I had all three. Before I sign off, I want to say something, especially to anyone out there who's ever felt invisible in a place where you should have felt safe. If you've ever had to shrink yourself to keep the peace, or been told you were too much, too sensitive, or simply not enough, I see you. If you've ever walked into a room and felt like a ghost in your own family or like your voice didn't matter, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not broken. You are not invisible. You are not unworthy. And the love or support you didn't get, that's not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their limits, not yours. What matters now is what you choose to build. After the silence, after the heartbreak, after the disappointments no one ever apologized for. That's where your strength lives, in what you create out of the mess, in the life you build that doesn't rely on their permission to exist. I didn't get justice in the clean, cinematic way I used to dream of. There was no big confrontation, no apology with tears and hugs, no perfect closure. But what I got was better. I got peace, I got space to breathe, I got to rebuild. I became someone I'm proud of, someone who wakes up each day knowing I didn't fold, even when it would have been easier to. And if I could get there, you can too. So let me ask you, have you ever had to let go of the idea of family just to finally hear your own voice? What was that moment, the one that made you say, I'm done hiding, I'm done shrinking, I deserve more than this? Drop it in the comments. I want to know. Your story matters. Your voice matters. Type 1 if this hit home for you. Or just tell me where you're watching from. I read every single one. Didn't connect with this video? That's okay too. Feedback matters. Share your thoughts and tell me what didn't land. I'm here to listen. And if you felt even a small shift in your chest while hearing this, if it stirred something in you, even just a little, tap that subscribe button. More stories are on the way. Stories like mine. Stories like yours. Thank you for showing up, for listening, for being part of this. And remember, peace doesn't always come with applause. Sometimes it comes quietly, with boundaries, with growth, with finally choosing yourself. Stay strong, stay real. See you next time.